every Sunday for 3 years. My husband left the house at 9 in the morning and came back at 6 in the evening. He never told me where he was going, and I never asked. I know how that sounds. Trust me, I do. But our marriage wasn't built on interrogations. It was built on trust. Or at least I thought it was. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 41 years old. I've been married to David for 16 years. We have 2 kids. Lily, who's 14, and Noah, who's 12. We live in a quiet suburb outside Portland. White picket fence, 2-car garage, golden retriever named Chester. The whole American dream package. David and I met in college. He was studying business. I was studying education. We fell in love over terrible cafeteria coffee and late-night study sessions. He proposed on a beach in California. I said yes before he even finished asking. For the first 13 years of our marriage, everything was good. Not perfect. No marriage is perfect. But good. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our Friday movie nights, our Saturday morning pancakes. We were solid. And then 3 years ago, the Sunday started. It was October. A Sunday morning, cool and grey. I was in the kitchen making breakfast when David came downstairs already dressed. Jeans, a sweater, his good jacket. Not church clothes, but nicer than his usual weekend wear. I'm heading out for a bit, he said. Oh, okay, where to? He hesitated. Just for a second. But I noticed. Just something I need to take care of. I'll be back for dinner. You need help with anything? No, it's fine, I've got it. He kissed me on the cheek, ruffled Noah's hair, and left. I thought it was strange, but not alarming. Maybe he had an errand, a project, something for work he forgot to mention. But the next Sunday it happened again. Same time, same routine. Dressed nicely, out the door by 9, back by 6. This time I was more curious. Where are you going? I asked. Again, that tiny hesitation. Just out, something I need to do. David, that's not really an answer. I know, I'm sorry, it's something I need to handle on my own, okay? The way he said it stopped me from pushing. There was something in his voice. Not anger, not defensiveness, just a heaviness, like whatever he was doing weighed on him. So I let it go. I told myself that if it was important, he'd tell me. That's what partners do, right? They trust each other. The Sundays continued. Every single week. 9 in the morning, back by 6. Sometimes he'd come home tired, sometimes quiet. Sometimes he seemed lighter, like whatever burden he carried had eased a little. But he never explained, and I never pushed. The kids noticed eventually. Where does Dad go on Sundays? Lily asked one afternoon. He has something he takes care of, I said. Like what? I don't know, honey. You don't know. She said it like it was the strangest thing in the world. And maybe it was. What kind of wife doesn't know where her husband goes every Sunday for months? Years. But I had my reasons for not asking. I was afraid. Not of what he was doing exactly, but of what asking might mean. What if he was seeing a therapist and didn't want to tell me? What if he was dealing with something painful from his past? What if asking would make him feel like I didn't trust him? What if my questions damaged something between us? So I stayed quiet. And the Sundays became normal. Just part of our routine. David leaves on Sundays. That's just what happens. But 3 weeks ago, everything changed. It was a Sunday morning. David came downstairs at 8:45. Right on schedule. He grabbed his keys from the hook by the door, kissed me goodbye, and left. I was loading the dishwasher when I heard the buzzing. Persistent. Insistent. I followed the sound to the living room. David's phone was on the couch, face down, still buzzing. He'd forgotten it. In 3 years of Sunday disappearances, he'd never forgotten his phone. I picked it up. The screen lit up. 3 missed calls, all from a contact labelled M. Just the letter M. No names. No photo. Just M. As I stood there, another call came through. M was calling again. My thumb hovered over the answer button. I should have let it go to voicemail. Should have texted David that he forgot his phone. Should have minded my own business. But I didn't. I answered. Hello. Silence on the other end. Then a woman's voice. Soft. Confused. Who is this? This is Sarah, David's wife. Who is this? Another pause. Longer this time. Where's David? He left his phone at home. Can I take a message? No message, just tell him to call me when he can. She hung up. I stood there holding the phone, my heart pounding. M was a woman. David had been getting calls from a woman I'd never heard of. For how long? I opened his call log. M had called 14 times in the past month. Always on Sundays. Sometimes Saturdays. A few times during the week. They'd also texted. A lot. I knew I was crossing a line. Invading his privacy. But my hands were already opening the messages before my brain could stop them. The most recent text was from yesterday. M, see you tomorrow, same time. David, yes, I'll be there at 9:30. M, thank you for doing this, it means everything. David, of course, always. I scrolled up. More messages. Dozens of them. M, I don't know what I'd do without you. David, you don't have to worry about that. M, you're too good to me. David, you deserve it. My hands were shaking. The messages were affectionate, familiar, intimate in a way that made my stomach turn. I kept scrolling. Weeks of messages. Months. M, today was perfect. David, I'm glad you seemed happy. M, I'm always happy when I'm with you. I sat down hard on the couch. 3 years. 3 years of Sundays. 3 years of lying. Because that's what this was, wasn't it? Lying by omission. David had been seeing another woman every Sunday for 3 years. And I'd just trusted him. Like an idiot. I heard a car door slam outside. David. He must have realized he forgot his phone and come back. I barely had time to set the phone down before he burst through the front door. Sarah, He stopped when he saw me sitting there. Saw his phone on the coffee table. Saw my face. Did someone call? He asked carefully. M called 4 times. His face went pale. Sarah. Who is she, David? It's not what you think. You don't know what I think. I can explain. Then explain right now who is M. He ran his hand through his hair. A gesture I'd seen 1,000 times when he was stressed. Can we sit down? We are sitting down, talk. Her name is Marina. Marina. Even her name sounded beautiful. How long? Sarah, please just let me explain. How long have you been seeing her? 3 years, but it's not an affair. I swear to you it's not like that. Then what is it like, David? Because from where I'm sitting it looks like you've been disappearing every Sunday to spend time with another woman. A woman who texts you things like, I'm always happy when I'm with you. So please tell me what it's like. She needed help. Help with what? It's complicated. Uncomplicate it. He sat down, put his head in his hands. When he looked up, there were tears in his eyes. Marina is my ex-girlfriend from college. My blood went cold. Your ex? Yes, we dated before I met you. It ended badly. She made some mistakes, got involved with the wrong people, her life fell apart. And you've been seeing her for 3 years. Not seeing her, helping her. Helping her how? Financially, emotionally. She was in a really bad place, Sarah. She reached out to me 3 years ago. She was homeless, struggling with addiction. She needed help and had no one else to turn to. So you've been giving her money? Yes, every Sunday. I visit her, make sure she's okay, help her with rent, groceries, whatever she needs. For 3 years. Yes. And you never told me. I knew you wouldn't understand. You're damn right I don't understand. You've been lying to me for 3 years. I never lied. Yes, you did. Every single Sunday you walked out that door without telling me where you were going or who you were seeing. That's lying, David. That's betrayal. I was trying to help someone. You were prioritizing your ex-girlfriend over your wife, over our family. Do you have any idea how much money you've given her? He was quiet. David, how much? About 40,000. The room tilted. What? Over 3 years, it averages out to. I don't care what it averages out to. You gave your ex-girlfriend $40,000 of our money without telling me. I used my own salary. We have joint accounts, we have kids, we have a mortgage, and you've been sending $40,000 to another woman. She needed it. I don't care what she needed. What about what we need? What about Lily's college fund? What about the roof we need to replace? What about the fact that we're supposed to be partners and you made this massive decision without me? I knew you'd react like this. Like what? Like a wife who just found out her husband has been financially supporting his ex-girlfriend for 3 years. Yeah, David, I'm reacting exactly like that. It's not about the money. Then what is it about? It's about doing the right thing. Marina was in trouble. I had the ability to help, so I did. You're not her savior. I never said I was. Then why are you acting like it? Why are you the only person in the world who can help her? Because I'm the only person she has. She's not your responsibility. Maybe not, but I couldn't just turn my back on her. I stood up. I couldn't sit there anymore. Couldn't look at him. I need you to leave. Sarah. I mean it, get out, go to a hotel, go to Marina's for all I care, but I can't be around you right now. Please, let's talk about this. We just did and I'm done, leave. He stood slowly, grabbed his phone, walked to the door. He paused with his hand on the knob. I love you, Sarah, this doesn't change that. Yeah, well, you have a really shitty way of showing it. He left, and I stood in my living room, shaking, trying to figure out what the hell just happened to my marriage. The next few days were a blur. David texted. Cold. I ignored all of it. I told the kids he was away for work. They didn't question it. I tried to keep things normal for them. But inside I was falling apart. I kept replaying the conversation. The text, the look on his face when he admitted he'd been seeing Marina for 3 years. $40,000. 3 years of Sundays. How had I been so blind? On Wednesday, my best friend Rachel came over. I'd texted her that I needed to talk. She took one look at my face and pulled me into a hug. What happened? I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. What are you going to do? She finally asked. I don't know. Do you think he's telling the truth, that it's not an affair? I don't know, the text seemed affectionate but not sexual. I don't know, Rachel, I can't think straight. Have you looked her up, Marina? No. Want to. I did. We found her on Facebook within minutes. Marina Castellanos. Her profile was sparse. A few photos. No personal information. But the pictures told a story. She looked tired. Worn down. There were photos from years ago where she looked vibrant and alive. And recent ones where she looked like life had beaten her down. She doesn't look like a homewrecker, Rachel said carefully. She doesn't have to look like one to be one. Fair point. I kept scrolling. Then I saw something that made my heart stop. A photo from 2 months ago. Marina standing next to David. They were at a park. She was smiling. He had his arm around her shoulders. The caption read, "Grateful for the people who never give up on you." "Oh, Sarah," Rachel said softly. I felt sick. He's in her photos, he's in her life. This isn't just charity, this is a relationship. It might not be romantic. I don't care if it's romantic or not. He chose her, every Sunday for 3 years. He chose her over me. Rachel didn't argue, because she knew I was right. That night David came home. I heard his key in the lock around 8. I was in the bedroom. He knocked softly on the door. "Sarah, can we talk?" "Come in." He opened the door slowly. Looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Good. I want to explain everything," he said. "Really explain, will you let me?" I wanted to say no. Wanted to tell him to leave again. But I needed answers. "Fine, talk." He sat on the edge of the bed. I stayed in the chair by the window, as far from him as possible. Marina and I dated for 2 years in college. It was serious. I thought I was going to marry her. That strung more than I expected. What happened? Her mom got sick, cancer. Marina dropped out of school to take care of her. I wanted to help, but I was broke, just a student. I couldn't do much. Her mom died 6 months later, and Marina fell apart. He paused. She started using drugs, pills at first, then harder stuff. I tried to help her, tried to get her into rehab, but she pushed me away. Eventually she disappeared, just gone. I didn't hear from her for 15 years. And then 3 years ago she found me on social media, sent me a message, said she'd gotten clean but she was struggling. She'd lost everything, her apartment, her job. She was about to be homeless. She asked if I could help her, just once, just enough to get back on her feet. "So you gave her money?" I gave her $3,000, helped her pay first and last month's rent on a small apartment. I thought that would be it, one time, done. But it wasn't. No, she kept reaching out. She'd have a crisis, an emergency, she'd lose a job, get behind on bills, and I'd help. Because I remembered who she used to be before the drugs, before everything fell apart. I remembered the girl I loved, and I couldn't just let her drown. "So you've been drowning our family instead?" "That's not fair." "Isn't it? $40,000, David. That's not helping someone get on their feet, that's supporting them, indefinitely." I know it got out of hand, but every time I tried to stop, something would happen. She'd call in tears, she'd be about to get evicted, or she couldn't afford her medication, and I couldn't say no. "Why not?" "Because I feel responsible." "For what?" "For not being there when she needed me, when her mom died, when she was spiraling. I was so focused on school, on my future, on moving forward, I left her behind, and I've always felt guilty about that." I stared at him. "So this is about guilt?" "Partly." "And what's the other part?" He was quiet. "David, I care about her, okay, not romantically, not like that, but I care about what happens to her. She's a good person who had bad things happen. She deserves a chance. At the expense of your family. It was never supposed to be at your expense. But it is. Every dollar you gave her was a dollar you kept from us. Every Sunday you spent with her was a Sunday you didn't spend with your kids. Every lie you told was a betrayal of our trust. You chose her, David, over and over. You chose her. I chose to help someone who needed it. No, you chose to play hero, to be the one person she could count on. And it made you feel good, didn't it? Made you feel needed, important. He didn't answer. Because I was right. I saw the photo of you too, I said. What photo? On her Facebook, you have your arm around her, she's smiling. You're smiling, you look like a couple. We're not. I don't care what you are or aren't. The point is you have a whole separate life I knew nothing about, a relationship I wasn't part of, and you hid it from me for 3 years. I didn't hide it to hurt you. Then why? Because I knew you'd make me choose. Damn right I would have. And that's exactly why I didn't tell you, because this isn't about choosing. Marina needs help. Our family is fine, we're stable, secure. She has nothing, no one, I can help both. Not anymore. He looked at me. What does that mean? It means you need to decide, David, right now, me or her. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, choose. Sarah, please. Choose. He stood up, paced, ran his hands through his hair. I can't just abandon her. So you're choosing her. I'm not choosing anyone. I'm saying this isn't black and white. Yes, it is. Either you cut contact with Marina or we're done. You don't mean that. I've never been more serious in my life. We stared at each other. Two people who'd built a life together, who'd promised forever. And it was all crumbling. I need time, he said finally. For what? To figure this out, to talk to Marina, to make sure she'll be okay. I don't care if she'll be okay. I know, and that's the problem. He left. Again. And I realized I'd just given my husband an ultimatum. And he'd chosen his ex-girlfriend. The next Sunday I woke up early. David hadn't come home. Hadn't called. I knew where he was. With her. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to see for myself. Needed to understand what was so special about Marina that my husband would risk everything for her. I dropped the kids at Rachel's. Told her I needed a few hours. She didn't ask questions. I'd gone through David's phone before he left. Memorized Marina's address. It was a 20-minute drive. A small apartment complex on the east side. Not terrible, but not great. I parked across the street. Waited. At 9:30, David's car pulled up. I watched him get out. He had a bag of groceries. And a bouquet of flowers. Flowers. He brought her flowers. When was the last time he brought me flowers? I couldn't remember. He walked up to a ground floor apartment. Knocked. The door opened. Marina stood there. She was prettier in person than in her photos. Even worn down by life, she had a softness to her. A vulnerability. She smiled when she saw David. He handed her the flowers. She hugged him. He hugged her back. And I wanted to scream. They went inside. I sat there for 3 hours, just watching the door. At one point, I saw them through the window, sitting on a couch, talking, laughing. He looked happy, relaxed in a way I hadn't seen him in years. At 12:30, I couldn't take it anymore. I got out of the car, walked up to her door, knocked. Footsteps inside. The door opened. Marina's smile disappeared when she saw me. You're Sarah. And you're Marina. I didn't expect. Where's David? She hesitated, then stepped aside. David was standing in the middle of the small living room. His face went white. Sarah, what are you doing here? I came to meet the woman my husband loves more than his family. That's not true, isn't it? Marina stepped forward. Please, this is my fault. I shouldn't have reached out to him. I shouldn't have. You're right, you shouldn't have, but you did, and he came running every single Sunday for 3 years. He was trying to help me. He was trying to save you. There's a difference. She looked down. I'm sorry, I never wanted to cause problems in your marriage. Too late. David moved between us. Sarah, this isn't the place. No, David, this is exactly the place. I need to understand what's happening. So I'm going to ask you directly, are you in love with her? No. Do you want to be with her? No. Then why are you here? Why are you choosing her over me? I'm not choosing. Every Sunday you choose her. Every lie, every hidden dollar, every moment you spend here instead of with your family, you're choosing her. So just admit it. Fine, yes, I choose to help her, because she needs me and you don't. The room went silent. Marina gasped softly. David's face crumpled. Sarah, I didn't mean. Yes, you did. I felt strangely calm. Like something inside me had broken, and now I could finally see clearly. You're right, I said. I don't need you, not like she does. I'm not broken, I'm not helpless, I don't need to be saved, so I'm not as interesting, not as important. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant, and you know what? You're free, go ahead, save her. Spend all your time and money and energy on her, because I'm done. Sarah, I want a divorce. Marina made a small sound. David just stared at me. You don't mean that. I absolutely do. I'll have my lawyer contact you next week. I turned and walked out. I didn't run. Didn't cry. Just walked to my car. Got in. Drove away. And somewhere around mile 5 I started laughing. Hysterical, broken, exhausted laughter. Because my marriage was over. And I felt relieved. The next week was a nightmare. David moved out permanently. Went to stay with his brother. The kids were devastated. Lily cried for 2 days straight. Noah stopped talking. I had to tell them something. So I told them the truth. Not all of it. But enough. Dad and I are having problems. We need some time apart. Is it because of the Sundays? Lily asked. I was surprised she made the connection. Partly. Is he seeing someone else? It's complicated, sweetie. That means yes. I didn't deny it. Noah finally spoke up. I hate him. No, you don't. I do, he's a liar. He's still your dad, and he loves you very much. Then why did he leave? I didn't have a good answer for that. I contacted a lawyer. Her name was Ellen Price. Mid-50s, sharp as a knife, with a reputation for winning. She looked over the information I'd gathered. Bank statements, text messages, everything. This is good, she said. Very good. He's been siphoning marital assets to support another woman. We can use this. I don't want to destroy him. Then what do you want? I want what's fair, for me and the kids. Fair is good, we can work with fair. She filed the papers the next day. David was served at work. He called me 20 times. I didn't answer. Finally, he showed up at the house. I only let him in because the kids were at school. You actually filed. I told you I would. I thought you'd cool down, realize we could work through this. There's nothing to work through, David. You made your choice. I haven't been with her, not like that, I swear. I don't care. Then what do you care about? I care that you lied to me for 3 years. I care that you gave away $40,000 without telling me. I care that you put her needs above our family's. I care that even now you don't see what you did wrong. I do see it. Do you, because you're still defending yourself, still making excuses? What do you want me to say? Nothing, I don't want you to say anything. I want you to sign the papers and let me move on. I don't want a divorce. Well, I do, so that's where we are. He looked around the room. At the photos on the walls. Our wedding picture. The kids' school photos. 16 years of life together. I love you, Sarah. You loved the idea of me. the stable wife, the safe home, but when it came down to it, you loved being her hero more. That's not true. Prove it. Cut contact with her completely right now. He was quiet. That's what I thought. She's trying to get her life together. If I disappear now, she'll fall apart. So you'd rather I fall apart instead? You're stronger than she is. That doesn't mean I don't need you. He didn't say anything, because we both knew the truth. I wasn't broken enough for him to want to save me. I'll sign the papers, he said quietly. Thank you. Can I ask you something? What? If I had told you about Marina from the beginning, would you have supported me helping her? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I don't know, maybe if you'd been honest, if we'd decided together how much we could afford, if you'd set boundaries, if you'd made sure our family came first, then maybe, but you didn't do any of that. You lied, you snuck around, you made me the enemy, so we'll never know. He nodded and left. The divorce took 4 months to finalize. It was relatively amicable. We split assets 50-50. He kept his retirement account. I kept the house. We shared custody of the kids. Ellen made sure he paid fair child support. And she made sure to note in the settlement that he'd given away $40,000 to a third party without spousal consent. It didn't get us the money back, but it was on record. A permanent reminder of what he'd done. The day the divorce was finalized, I went home and opened a bottle of wine. Sat on my back porch and cried. Not because I wanted him back, but because I was grieving the marriage I thought I had. The partnership I believed in. The trust I'd given so freely. I'd never get that back. But I could build something new. 6 months after the divorce, I ran into Marina. At the grocery store. Of all places. We saw each other at the same moment. She froze. I could have walked away. Probably should have. But I didn't. I walked right up to her. Hi. Hi, she said nervously. I didn't expect to see you here. I live 2 miles away. Where else would I shop? Right, of course. Awkward silence. How are you? She asked. Better, you? I'm good, really good actually. I got a job, full-time in an office. It's the first steady work I've had in years. That's great. Thank you, and thank you for not hating me. I don't hate you. You have every right to. Maybe, but I don't. You didn't owe me anything. David did, and he's the one who failed. She looked down. He doesn't come around anymore. I was surprised. He doesn't. No, after you two split, he called me, said he needed to step back, that he'd helped me as much as he could and it was time for me to stand on my own. He set me up with a social worker, got me connected to some programs, and then he said goodbye. How do you feel about that? Honestly, relieved. I never wanted to be someone's project. I appreciated his help, but I knew it wasn't healthy, for him or for me. Why didn't you stop it? I tried a few times, but he kept insisting. And I was desperate, so I let it happen. I'm not proud of that. You were surviving. That doesn't make it right. No, but it makes it human. She looked at me. Really looked at me. You're a good person, Sarah. David's an idiot for losing you. He didn't lose me. He chose to let me go. I guess that's true. We stood there for a moment. 2 women connected by one man's misguided sense of duty. Take care of yourself, Marina. You too. I walked away. And I realized I meant it. I didn't hate her. I pitied her. Because she'd been just as trapped by David's need to save her as I'd been by his lies. 2 years after the divorce, I'm doing okay. Better than okay, actually. I went back to school and got my master's in education. I'm the vice principal at Lily's school now. The job is challenging and fulfilling in ways I didn't expect. Lily's 16 now. She's doing well. took a while for her to forgive David, but they're rebuilding their relationship. Noah's 14. Still quiet, but he's opening up more. He plays soccer and has a great group of friends. David and I are civil. We co-parent effectively. We'll never be friends, but we're not enemies either. He's still single as far as I know. I've heard through the kids that he volunteers at a homeless shelter now. Still trying to save people, but at least he's doing it in a healthy way. As for me, I started dating last year. Nothing serious yet, but I'm open to it. I'm not afraid of trust anymore. I'm just more careful about who I give it to. Rachel asked me recently if I regretted how things turned out. I told her no. I regretted the lying, the wasted years, the pain we put the kids through. But I didn't regret leaving, because staying would have meant accepting that I'd always come second. To Marina, to David's guilt, to his need to be needed. And I deserve to come first in my own life. Last Sunday, I was sitting on my porch with my morning coffee. It was 9 in the morning, the exact time David used to leave. And I realized I was free. No more wondering where he was, who he was with, what he was hiding. No more quiet Sundays filled with unasked questions. I could ask anything now, and the only person I had to answer to was myself. My phone rang. It was the kids. They were at David's for the weekend. "Hey Mom," Lily said, "we're going to stay an extra night at Dad's. He's taking us to that new pizza place. Is that okay?" "Of course, have fun. Love you. Love you too." I hung up and took another sip of coffee. The house was quiet, peaceful. Mind. I thought about David, about Marina, about the 3 years of Sundays that cost me my marriage. And I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't hurt. I was just done. Done carrying the weight of his choices. Done wondering if I was enough. Done trying to make sense of a man who loved the broken more than the whole. I finished my coffee, went inside, and started planning my day. My Sunday. No secrets, no lies. Just me. And that was more than enough. People ask me sometimes what I would have done differently. If I could go back to that first Sunday 3 years ago, would I have pushed harder for answers? Would I have demanded the truths? I don't know. Maybe. But I also think David would have found a way to lie. Because he wasn't just lying to me. He was lying to himself. Convincing himself that what he was doing was noble. Selfless, when really it was selfish. Because it was never about Marina. Not really. It was about him. His guilt. His need to be the hero. His need to matter. And I couldn't compete with that. No one could. So I stopped trying. I chose myself. And my kids. And my future. And I've never looked back. There's a lesson in all this, I think. About trust. About boundaries. About knowing when to hold on and when to let go. I held on for 3 years. Made excuses. Ignored red flags. Told myself that trust meant not asking questions. But trust isn't blind. Real trust is built on honesty, transparency, mutual respect. And when those things are missing, it's not trust. It's denial. I was in denial for 3 years. But I'm not anymore. I see clearly now. I see that love without respect is empty. That partnership without honesty is a lie. That sometimes the person you need to save is yourself. David taught me that. Not intentionally. But he taught me. And I'm grateful for the lesson. even if I wish I'd learned it another way. I still have the kids every other week. And those weeks are my favorite. We have dinner together every night. Talk about our days. Laugh at stupid jokes. We have Sunday pancakes now. A new tradition. One that's ours. No secrets. No missing pieces. Just us. Whole. Last month, Lily asked me if I'd ever get married again. I don't know, I told her honestly. Maybe if I meet the right person. What would make them the right person? Someone who's honest, who communicates, who doesn't keep parts of their life hidden from me. Do you think Dad loved Marina? It was a question I'd asked myself 100 times. I think he loved the idea of saving her. I don't think he was in love with her, but in some ways that makes it worse. Why? Because if he'd been in love with her, at least that would make sense. But he wasn't. He just needed to be needed, and he was willing to sacrifice our family for that feeling. That's really sad. Yeah, it is. Do you still love him? I love the man I thought he was, but that man doesn't exist, so no, I don't love who he actually is. She nodded. Processing. I'm glad you left him, Mom. Yes, Yeah, you deserve better. I hugged her tight. So do you, baby, so do you. I think the hardest part of all this wasn't the betrayal. It was the realization that I'd wasted 3 years ignoring my instincts. I knew something was wrong. From the very first Sunday. I felt it. But I pushed it down. Told myself I was being paranoid. Insecure. Told myself that good wives trust their husbands. But good husbands don't give you reasons not to trust them. And David gave me 3 years of reasons. I just didn't want to see them. So I forgive him for what he did. But more importantly, I forgive myself for letting it happen. For not asking sooner. For not demanding better. For thinking love meant accepting less than I deserved. I know better now. And I'll never make that mistake again. It's Sunday morning again. 9 o'clock. I'm sitting in my kitchen with fresh coffee and a book. The sun is coming through the window. Chester is asleep at my feet. And I am completely, perfectly at peace. No one is sneaking out. No one is lying. No one is choosing someone else over me. Because the only person here is me. And I choose myself. Every single day. I choose myself. That's the real ending to this story. Not the divorce. Not the confrontation. Not the courtroom or the settlement or the signed papers. The real ending is me. Choosing me. Choosing my worth. Choosing my peace. And building a life where I don't have to wonder. Where I don't have to doubt. Where I don't have to compete for my own husband's attention. I'm free. And that freedom is worth more than any marriage built on lies. So if you're reading this or listening to this, and you're in a situation where something feels wrong but you're afraid to ask questions, let me tell you something. Ask. Demand answers. Demand honesty. Demand respect. Because you deserve it. And if you don't get it, you deserve to walk away. I did. And it was the hardest, best decision I ever made. My life isn't perfect. It's messy and complicated and sometimes lonely. But it's honest. It's mine. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. Not even a marriage that looked perfect on the outside, but was rotting from the inside. I'm good. Really, truly good. And if David ever wonders if leaving me was worth it, if saving Marina was worth losing his family, I hope he thinks about Sunday mornings. About pancakes and laughter and kids who trust their mom completely. About a woman who learned to choose herself. And I hope he realizes what he gave up. Not for love. Not even for guilt. But for the ego boost of being someone's hero. I hope it was worth it. because it cost him everything. And I'm not sorry. Not anymore. I'm just free. And that's the best revenge of all,